to the DraftKings defense analysis for Week 14. I'm Jason Gilba, JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J Clay. Taking a look at defenses here, Week 14, and there's some obvious ones, but not as many as we've had in the past.
It's a trash week. There's trash cans everywhere, and I just want to throw all these defenses in there.
I agree. This week is bad because there really is no glaring matchups outside of like Matt Forte against the Niners. Like, there's
that team has given up. I mean, that team has a few teams every year just give up. They've literally given up. Like, the players laughing on the field. Like, their quarterbacks are laughing after they throw interceptions. Like, it's funny.
Well, Ryan Fitzpatrick, I mean, he
Oh, no.
He played the Jets. Or are you talking about the Niners?
Oh, no. I'm talking about the Jets. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he threw his interceptions and he just runs off the field, no smiles. Bryce Petty gladly giving the ball away, just gleefully loving every moment of it. So, something to pay attention to. I think that offense is pretty much crippled for the rest of the year. That said, fire in Matt Forte. But yes, anyway, this is just my tilt from last night of playing Ryan Fitzpatrick, so whatever.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
That wasn't a good idea.
No, it was a horrible idea.
It wasn't a good idea, that's for sure. So.
But we're looking at defenses here, talking about quarterbacks turning the ball over and doing it a lot and doing it for touchdowns. Minnesota playing Jacksonville and Blake Bortles this week.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same breakdown as we had against the Broncos. Now, I'm not going to call a pick six off the foot of a also offensive player, but there's going to be some shenanigans that goes on in this game. I'm feeling like some muffed punt returns and like just safe, like maybe a safety. Blake Bortles will switch it up and get a safety this game. That's my call. Blake Bortles is going to get a safety this game.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can't go for the pick six all the time.
No, that's not going to happen every week. So I think we just go with, going to get sacked 10 times and a safety or two, maybe two, you never know. And I just think we're looking at a bunch of grossness from this Jags offense from now on.
I think so too. And I think Minnesota's defense hasn't gotten worse. I think they've just been put in bad spots over the last 5 or 6 weeks. There's only so much they can do.
I think to an extent they've gotten worse, but yeah, I think they've been in a lot of bad spots too. And, you look at Jacksonville, they've been in a lot of bad spots too this year. They've had a really tough schedule. And I think when you look at Blake Bortles' statistics, last year was way better than it should have been. I think this year is kind of actual like really bad case scenario. I don't think this is like the Blake Bortles. He's somewhere in between this. Like, he's not this bad. A lot of his interceptions have been like tipped and like crazy stuff has happened this year. I don't know.
He's bad. He's so bad.
Okay.
He's bad.
Well, the Vikings are a cash game defense for a reason. But anyway, Broncos versus Titans. I picked the Broncos next. This is kind of a tough one. The Titans and the Raiders are two teams where, you keep expecting them to stumble and their offenses just keep churning out yards. I like DeMarco Murray in this game. I just think, the secondary for the Broncos is still incredible. And I think the upside of, this Titans offense might be, held back by some of what Delaney Walker being neutralized by the secondary. Rashard Matthews probably not going to get those wide open deep balls like he's been getting. So I think the Broncos could at least neutralize the passing game, which could at least somewhat slow down the offense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Tennessee, I think they've been playing relatively well. A pretty good balanced approach. Mariota's been very solid. I mean, this is really an important game for both sides. Like, when did we think, at the beginning of the season saying, hey, like Broncos and Titans is going to be a playoff picture type battle?
Yeah. And we haven't seen Marcus Mariota be a second year. He is a second year quarterback, obviously, but we haven't seen him play like a second year quarterback in a long time. This could be the weird, like, you play the Broncos, get decent ownership on them, and this could be the week that we see a little regression to his rookie year where Mariota was a more mistake-prone quarterback.
I think that's fair this week. I mean, I think that's going to happen. One, because this Broncos team is just good at forcing the ball and getting it over to the offense, and their pressure has picked up over the last few weeks as well, which is always something. I don't think Mariota's really faced a ton of pressure, during this span. So this will certainly change things.
Right.
GPP defenses here, looking at Arizona, 3,200, so a little bit of a discount from the top ones. At this point, it's just which defense shows up, it seems, this year.
They're injured. They're just having a bad year. It's just a bad year for the Cardinals, There's just a bad year for the Cardinals, and their defense hasn't played up to par. Their offense hasn't played up to par. They're struggling in pretty much everything other than having David Johnson on their roster. If they didn't have him, I mean, they'd probably be a 2 or 3 win team, honestly. So you look at that, and 3,200 against Miami. I'm going to be taking that every time just because I think Ryan Tannehill is still a bad quarterback. And, this win streak with the running game getting going certainly changed the perception a little bit, but he hasn't changed. He's still the same old Ryan Tannehill. He's going to have some bad games coming up. This is probably the toughest matchup he's seen in a while, so I like it.
Yeah, I do too. I like taking shots with Arizona, and they tend to pay off every now and then. And you look, I mean, I think, you shut down Jay Ajayi, which is a pretty good focus. I kind of see it playing out to how Baltimore played them. That's a good run defense. It plays out well. You throw Patrick Peterson on, whoever, Jarvis Landry, Devontae Parker, and, a couple other secondary pieces that are pretty good as well.
Absolutely.
Jacksonville, we talked about on the salary exploitation. We talked about them as being a punt defense. We talked about them also kind of being put in bad spots over the last few weeks. So
I'll put you in a bad spot.
I don't know what that means.
That's right.
Continue on.
Yeah. I'll blackmail you.
You got
like that. Yeah, you're right. I'll find something though.
At least I never played.
I'll hire a private investigator. You'll be in big trouble. Don't want your dad to know about the beer you stole out of his fridge when you were 12 years old. I won't tell him though. Don't worry about it. Jags, 2,500 against Sam Bradford, against Matt Asiata, against the ever-imposing Michael Pruitt, Stephon Diggs. I'm just going to – Charles Johnson, Cordero Patterson, bad offensive linemen. When you start going down the line here, I won't say the Vikings are a Hall of Fame, caliber offense just as a whole. Like you should enshrine them all in the Hall of Fame. But I'm really saying they all belong in the trash. And that you should play defenses against them every week because they're awful. And that's my take here. It has nothing to do with the Jags, just the complete lack of anything you get from the Vikings other than Stephon Diggs every few weeks.
Yeah, I mean,
and Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen can ball. I like him.
But they got a couple corners that match up really well against both those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's the thing. It's not like the Jags have, it's not like Minnesota has any sort of run game right now. The offensive line's bad. Jerick McKinnon and Matt Asiata have not gotten anything going at all.
All right, let's do a segment called Pick Six of the Week. This week, Sam Bradford, we're going to be looking at him on the Red Zone channel. He's going to be, staring at the ground as one of the Jaguars takes it home on him because he's going to make a mistake throwing one of his 50 5-yard passes.
That's fair. That's fair. Brock Osweiler's my pick 6 of the week.
Ooh, there you go. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jets,
like the 6-pack you stole from your dad's refrigerator.
No, none of that happened.
Oh.
Let it go.
Why are you being so defensive, Jason? Okay. Anyway, Jets, the team I said I've given up. I threw them in this article. Jets have given up, but it's even worse that San Francisco hasn't given up, and they're just horrific. So I think Jets are going to have some easy lanes to the quarterback. Going to get pretty ugly there pretty quick. With Bryce Petty or Ryan Fitzpatrick in there, I think we're going to see some fireworks from the Jets. Hopefully it's just Matt Forte and not Robbie Anderson or, Devin Smith. Or
I wouldn't mind a Bilal Powell touchdown.
Yeah, no, that they're not kind enough to give us that. It'd be like Austin Safarian Jenkins, like receiving touchdown, then gets called back, with a holding, and then he does it again for 15 more yards, and then they call it back again, and then they punt. That's like the Jets this year.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So, and then he goes and smokes a ball on the sideline and gets cut at halftime. That's
jeez, dude.
Yeah.
Your turns. They always go so dark. There's always
they do. They never go in a good way.
No,
they always go down.
No, someone gets murdered on the sideline. Yeah, a mid-sesh bowl, and
Yeah.
So anything you like about the Jets defense? Because you didn't talk anything about the Jets defense.
I like Leonard Williams. He's good. I like Darren Lee for the future. They have some good linebackers and defensive ends and guys that can get pressure. But, their secondary's trash. But it doesn't matter against the 49ers.
No, I mean, their weak spot, it's everything. But you look at the Jets, I mean, the front seven's solid. Didn't see it too much last night against the Colts. I mean, Andrew Luck was under pressure a couple times, but not often. This is a much different situation. Yeah,
the 49ers are kind of like, offensively, they're kind of like me playing chess on the black, starting with black. Yeah. Eventually, you can put up a little fight at the beginning of the game, but eventually, the attack mounts and you just fall apart and you lose your queen and it's just a disaster. And then you resign and run away and start crying.
You sound like a very bad chess player.
Good with white. You can play
That's
white.
A little racist, but okay.
Yeah, it is racist. I've been trying to improve, but I can't quite get there yet with black.
Yeah, that's fair. Any guys that just missed the cut this week?
Yeah, Bilal Powell. Yeah.
Oh, come on, man. Any defense that just missed the cut. God, this has been a hard hosting show with you. Trying to get it together with you has been.
These teams are garbage. So, like this week, defensive matchups not good. I would go with the higher priced teams like the Broncos and the Vikings. I think that's the safe way to go.
Yeah, better solidified floor up there.
Yeah.
That's going to wrap it up with DraftKings defense analysis for Week 14. If you want to check out Russ's article, which he did do, you can go ahead and head on over to dailyfantasycafe.com. Be sure to check out the rest of our Week 14 content.